What if I told you there's a family SUV out there that's faster than a Porsche, can drive from coast to coast without refueling, and costs less than a basic Honda? Yeah, I didn't believe it either. But after diving deep into what's happening in the Chinese automotive market right now, I'm genuinely questioning everything we've been told about what's possible in this industry. Look, I've covered hundreds of vehicles. I've sat in million-dollar hypercars and driven off-road monsters that could climb a building. But what I'm about to walk you through today, it's not just impressive. It's genuinely making me wonder if the rest of the world has been asleep at the wheel. This is a full-size, 6-passenger luxury hauler with more screens and a tech convention, enough power to embarrass sports cars at every stoplight, and a range that basically eliminates the concept of range anxiety altogether. And here's the part that'll really mess with your head. The price tag is so low, you'll think I'm making it up. So buckle up, because we're about to explore a vehicle that's rewriting every rule we thought we knew about what's possible when you combine electric power, gasoline backup, and absolutely no compromises. This is a story of a machine that shouldn't exist, but somehow does. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine pulling up somewhere in a vehicle that's longer than one of those massive American SUVs everyone's driving. We're talking over 17 feet of pure presence. When you arrive in something this substantial, you're not just showing up, you're making an entrance that people will remember. The front of this beast is something else entirely. The design language is aggressive without being over the top. You've got these razor-thin lead strips running horizontally across the top, almost like a robotic eyebrow that's constantly judging lesser vehicles. They flow seamlessly into the hood, creating this continuous line of light that's both futuristic and slightly intimidating. Below that, the actual headlight units are positioned lower in the fascia, which keeps everything looking clean and purposeful up top. Now, here's where it gets clever. That massive opening at the front? It's not just for show. This plug-in hybrid actually has active shutters built right in. Think about that for a second. When you're unleashing all 762 horses under the hood, this thing opens up wide to gulp down cooling air. But when you're just cruising and trying to maximize efficiency for that ridiculous range, it seals itself up tighter than a submarine. It's constantly thinking, constantly adjusting, constantly optimizing. That's a kind of engineering detail that separates the real players from the pretenders. The side profile tells you everything you need to know about interior space. That wheelbase is stretched out to almost 12.5 feet, which translates to legroom for days. The proportions are absolutely spot on. High belt line, glossy black trim on all the pillars giving that floating roof effect that luxury brands love. And check this out, the door handles are completely flush with the body. They pop out when you approach and retract when you don't need them. It's a tiny detail, sure, but these tiny details add up to create that premium feeling that makes you smile every time you walk up to your vehicle. Those wheels, 20 inches of aggressive design filling out the arches perfectly. Even standing still, this thing looks like it's ready to pounce. Before we go any further, if you're already feeling that automotive enthusiasm kicking in, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you want to stay in the loop about what's happening in the future of transportation, especially the wild stuff coming out of international markets, make sure you're subscribed. Trust me, what's coming next in this industry is going to blow your mind, and you don't want to miss it. The rear end matches the front's bold attitude perfectly. Wide, imposing, and punctuated by a full-width LED light bar that has a segmented, kinetic look to it. It's instantly recognizable, which is crucial for any brand trying to establish itself. The lower section has integrated diffusers hinting at the performance lurking underneath. They managed to make it look both sporty and sophisticated at the same time, which isn't easy with something this large. But hold on, we need to talk about something absolutely bonkers. There's a special variant of this vehicle where they modified the roof to include a dedicated landing pad for an integrated drone system. I'm not joking. You can literally deploy an aerial camera from the roof of your family hauler and get live footage beamed back to those massive screens inside. Can you imagine the possibilities? Scouting a campsite, checking traffic ahead, getting epic shots of your road trip, or just showing off at literally any gathering ever. Name me one Western vehicle that comes with its own personal aircraft included. You can't, because it doesn't exist. Now let's step inside. Because of the exterior is impressive, the cabin is where things get absolutely ridiculous. The moment you open that door, you're not getting into a car. You're stepping into what feels like a mobile command center mixed with a luxury lounge. The dashboard is clean, symmetrical, and dominated by screens. Directly in front of the driver, you've got a fully digital instrument cluster that's crisp, customizable, and gives you every piece of information you need without overwhelming you. But the star of the show is that massive floating center display. We're talking over 17 inches of touchscreen real estate that rotate between portrait and landscape orientation. This isn't some dinky infotainment system. This is a full-blown entertainment hub that handles everything from navigation to climate control to entertainment. The responsiveness is on point, and the fact that it physically rotates never stops being cool. Here's something you don't see every day. The front passenger gets their own dedicated screen. Not sharing, not fighting over controls. Their own personal entertainment center where they can watch content, adjust settings, or do whatever they want while you focus on driving. That's a kind of thoughtfulness that separates premium experiences from basic transportation. The steering wheel is modern dual-spoke design with a flat bottom, giving it that sporty edge. Notice where the gear selector is? It's not cluttering up the center console. It's a sleek little stalk on the steering column, which frees up so much space for actually useful stuff. Let's talk materials, because this is where you really feel the luxury. Expansive soft-touch surfaces everywhere your hand might land. Generous amounts of premium leather or high-quality synthetic alternatives. Even the headliner is suede. The metal accents on things like seat adjusters and air vents feel substantial, not hollow or cheap. The center console is packed with practical luxury features. Multiple wireless charging pads mean everyone's devices stay topped up. Cup holders that tuck away when you're not using them, maintaining that clean aesthetic. And get this, a crystal-style electronic gear shifter that feels like a piece of jewelry every time you touch it. The front seats reportedly offer something called zero-gravity functionality. Basically, they recline and articulate in a way that distributes your weight perfectly, giving you the sensation of weightlessness. That's the kind of feature you'd expect in six-figure luxury sedans, and it's right here in what's technically a family vehicle. Quick question for you. If you had these massive screens and all this tech at your fingertips, what's the first thing you're doing? What are you watching? What are you controlling? Drop your answer in the comments, because I genuinely want to know how people would actually use all this capability. With a length over 17 feet and that massive wheelbase, you know the space inside is going to be generous. The 6-seat configuration with a 2-2-2 layout is absolutely the way to go. Those second-row captain's chairs are fantastic, and more importantly, they make access in the third row actually civilized instead of requiring you to be a contortionist. Now, let's be real. The third row is always a compromise row. But this one isn't terrible. It's got its own heating functions, which immediately elevates it above the dark, cold penalty boxes you find in most 3-row vehicles. It's still the least spacious row, sure, but it's genuinely usable for actual humans. Cargo space behind that third row is legitimately practical for real-world use. Groceries, luggage, sports equipment, all that fits even with all 6 seats occupied. Fold those back rows down, and you're looking at a truly cavernous cargo area that could swallow pretty much anything you need to move. And with this much overall size, I guarantee there are clever hidden storage compartments scattered throughout that we haven't even discovered yet. This is built for actual family life, just family life with no compromises on performance or luxury. Now we get to the technical wizardry that makes all of this possible. This is where the engineering gets genuinely impressive and makes every other hybrid system feel outdated. This is a plug-in hybrid built on an advanced platform that was designed from the ground up for this type of powertrain. The foundation is a 2-liter turbocharged gasoline engine putting out over 200 horsepower on its own. Respectable, but not particularly special. The magic happens when you add in the electric motors. We're talking about a tri-motor setup. 1 motor up front, 2 in the rear, creating a sophisticated all-wheel drive system that can intelligently distribute power to wherever it's needed. When everything works together, you're looking at a combined peak output of 762 horsepower. Let that sink in for a second. 762 horses in a 3-row family SUV. That's why this thing can blast from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 4 seconds. This is a vehicle that's faster in a straight line than most dedicated sports cars, and it's doing it while carrying 6 people and their luggage. But the real genius is in the battery system. We're talking about an enormous battery pack, nearly 4 to 7 kilowatt-hours, which is integrated directly into the chassis structure. That massive battery gives you an all-electric range of around 143 miles. Think about that. For most people's daily driving, commuting, errands, school runs, all of that happens on pure electricity. You never touch the gas tank. When you do need to venture beyond that electric range, the gasoline engine kicks in seamlessly, and suddenly you've got a combined total range of approximately 880 miles. You could drive from one coast nearly to the other without stopping. You could do multiple weekend road trips on a single tank and charge. Range anxiety? What's that? This is solving the fundamental problem with electric vehicles and traditional hybrids in one brilliant package. You get the efficiency and instant torque of electric power for daily use, but you also have the unlimited range of a gasoline engine for those longer journeys. It's genuinely the best of both worlds, and it makes you wonder why more manufacturers aren't doing exactly this. With this much power and capability, safety becomes paramount, and this is where the engineering pedigree really shows through. The company behind this has partnerships with major established manufacturers, and that uncompromising safety mindset is baked into every aspect. The battery pack isn't just sitting in the vehicle. It's structurally integrated into the chassis itself, which does two things. First, it protects the battery in any impact scenario. Second, it adds massive rigidity to the entire body structure, making the whole vehicle more crash-resistant. The body uses high-strength steel throughout with engineered crumple zones designed to manage impact forces effectively. Inside, you've got comprehensive airbag coverage. Front, side, curtain, even the airbag protecting all 6 occupants in a worst-case scenario. When you've got this much performance potential, you need that level of protection. The driver assistance technology is comprehensive, adaptive cruise control that maintains your following distance automatically. Lane keeping assist that gently guides you back if you start drifting. Automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection. Blind spot monitoring because with something this large, you need all the help you can get. Intelligent parking assistance for squeezing into tight spots. There's even reportedly an adaptive air suspension system that constantly adjusts ride height and damping on the fly, not just for comfort but for stability and safety. Some variants might even include rear-wheel steering, which would make something this large surprisingly agile in tight situations. While we wait for official Western crash test ratings, the engineering fundamentals are clearly designed to compete at the highest global safety standards. This isn't some cut-rate operation. This is serious engineering. All right, here comes a moment that's going to mess with your head. You've seen the size. Longer than most American full-size SUVs. You've seen the luxury. Screens everywhere, premium materials, thoughtful features. You've seen the performance. 762 horsepower, under 4 seconds to 60. You've seen the range, nearly 900 miles combined. What does something comparable cost here? A BMW X7 with similar power and features? You're starting around 80 grand and climbing well past 100,000 when properly equipped. A Mercedes GLS in the same ballpark? Similar story. Even a fully loaded domestic option is pushing $75,000 minimum. So this vehicle, with a tri-motor hybrid system, all this technology, and yes, even that optional drone, has to be 6 figures, right? Has to be. The starting price in its home market converts to approximately $42,000. I'll give you a second to process that, because I had to check multiple sources to believe it myself. $42,000. That's less than the average new vehicle price in America right now. That's basically the same as a mid-trim mainstream SUV with a fraction of the features and performance. You could buy a basic crossover with none of this capability for the same money or more. This is where the conversation gets bigger than just one vehicle. This is about a fundamental shift in what's possible in automotive manufacturing. This is about efficiency, scale, vertical integration, and a willingness to push boundaries that frankly makes a lot of established players look complacent. So here's the real question. If you could actually buy this, would you? 762 horsepower, 900-mile range, genuine luxury appointments, advanced safety technology, all for the price of an average new car. What's the catch? Why isn't this disrupting markets everywhere? That's the conversation we need to be having, because this represents where the industry is heading. This is a new benchmark for what's possible when you combine electric efficiency with gasoline flexibility and refuse to compromise on performance or features. What do you think? Is this the future of family transportation, or are there factors we're not considering? Would you trust this level of new technology, or would you stick with more established brands even at higher prices? I genuinely want to know your perspective, so drop your thoughts in the comments. Agree with me, argue with me, challenge my assumptions. That's how we figure this stuff out together. And listen, if you found this deep dive valuable, make sure you're subscribed and notifications are turned on. Because next time, we're looking at another vehicle that can literally move sideways into parking spots like a crab. The future of automotive technology is wild, and we're covering all of it right here. See you in the next one.